In this video, we're going to talk about the announcement from Google's marketing event in 2018. All and more coming up. Hey there and welcome back to another video of MeasureSchool.com teaching you the data-driven way of digital marketing. My name is Julian and today we are live talking about the product announcements that have come out of the Google event, which was held 2 days ago. And that's where they overall put out their strategy for their marketing platforms and everything they do in marketing, which is particularly interesting to us digital marketers. So today I want to give you a bit of my thoughts, a bit of a recap, and a bit of an analysis about these new changes. Now, if you haven't watched the keynote yet, there is going to be a link down below where we're going to link up the complete speech, which is quite long. So we cut it down for you. And we also have a video here on this channel that gives you everything you need to know in 10 minutes, one of these 10-minute shortcut videos. Quite useful, I think. Now, I spent yesterday the whole afternoon going through this video and cutting it down, and therefore I had some thoughts going through this and want to recap for you what was announced. So without further ado, let's dive in. I want to divide this in 3 big parts that I saw and I think are important from key takeaways from this keynote. The first one was that they make everything simpler in terms of their products and renaming the products actually. So the biggest change here is Google AdWords will become Google Ads. This has been long coming, I guess. Google AdWords was at the beginning just this search product where they sell the AdWords. And then it expanded to display, to YouTube, and many other forms that are incorporated under Google AdWords. And that's for, they wanted to make this easier for the customer to say, not say, okay, this is AdWords, this is what you can book on Google, but it's so much more now. And that's why they changed it, I guess, to Google Ads, which is more coherent and is easier, I guess, to understand. And we were always talking about Google Ads, not only the display, not only the AdWords that you could book on Google, but the iconic name of AdWords actually will disappear, unfortunately. All right, then whole new names if you are in DoubleClick, because DoubleClick is now joining the Google Marketing Program, or no, platform, the Google Marketing Platform, which incorporates all assets like Google Analytics 360, Google Tag Manager 360, Google Data Studio 360. So all these corporate enterprise products that Google has brought out, the premium versions of everything, into this marketing cloud. And obviously also the products that are for non-enterprise users, like what we use, Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager, will be under this one umbrella of Google Marketing Platform. Now, for the consumer, this gets easier, I guess, but there are some new names to get used to. DoubleClick is retiring really, and they're gonna build something out of that. The new names are the Display Video 360 and Search Ads 360, which was previously the Bid Manager and the different assets from DoubleClick in one. Now, I'm not too versed in DoubleClick, so and I haven't played with these tools yet, so I don't know how much it will affect a normal marketer who's working with these products, but definitely there are some new names to get used to, and we'll see how Google will cope with this, because they have been changing the names in the past few years for different products. We had Google Analytics, we had Firebase Analytics, and we had Google Analytics for Firebase, then we had Google Analytics 360, the 360 suite, and now we have that Google Marketing Platform. So we'll see how the naming convention will go on. Just something to get used to. Big change, obviously, from a branding perspective. Now, the second biggest part of this keynote I want to talk about is machine learning. And there are a lot of products that get changed by machine learning and AI in general in Google. So if you think about the Google Assistant, if you think about Android, there are many features that are been put in place from the machine learning capabilities that Google has built up over the past few years. They're really at the forefront in terms of putting that into their products and always announcing that AI or machine learning, I would say rather, is at the forefront of what they are trying to become and doing right now. It was quite interesting how this affects our marketing and the capabilities that we have inside of the tools. Why? Because marketing, or the marketing suite that Google provides, will be affected by it the most, I guess, and also the fastest. Why? Simply because there are more data points available. If you do advertising over millions and millions of data points, it's different to billions and billions, which we have in AdWords and all the Google advertising products, especially with Google Analytics and so on. There's so many data points out there. It's predestined big data for this machine learning effort. The second thing is that Google AdWords, or Google Ads, what is it now called, is still the main revenue driver of Google and Alphabet, I guess, in this sense. And therefore, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of money behind it as well. So when you put machine learning to use, do it first where the money is at, and that's why Google does it there. Now, they don't do it just because of these market forces, but also they have a self-serving interest in it. And if you analyze this, I guess it will help marketers in the long run, and it will get easier marketing. But at the same time, it helps Google. Now, Google, you need to see that AdWords is a very matured product already, or Google Ads is a very matured product. We have a very good platform that we can do advertising on. It brings us results in performance marketing. It is standard in our repertoire, right, as digital marketers. And therefore, Google has a tough time to grow. Not in a sense that they are going under or it's going down. It's more of they have steady growth through online marketing in general, digital marketing in general. It's still a pie that is growing and taking away from traditional advertising like TV and so on. But at the same time, they are looking to find ways to grow internally, or to make growth happen internally. And there are two forces going on, I guess, in that sense, that they can drive growth. One is internally, in efficiency, and the other thing is bringing more people to the ad platform. Now, when we look at efficiency, it comes down to really like yield management. They have an inventory of ads, and they want to sell them more efficiently and more efficiently. And machine learning obviously will help them to decide which ad spot will get to which user and at which time, and that's what we all want as marketers as well, right? The right message at the right time for the right person or the right audience. And machine learning will make this just more efficient. It's a general trend here, but I think that Google especially can utilize this because they have so much inventory, and it will go beyond the, hey, I'm gonna put my advertising on this user or this advertising website. It will go into much deeper algorithms or areas that we don't even think about, and the machine can go through because it can evaluate every ad spot individually, and that's not something a human can do or a media planner could do. And therefore, machine learning is a big trend in getting Google AdWords or Google Ads more efficient. And that's the self-serving interest of Google as well. I see this a little bit critical because the transparency is something that we have always been fighting for. What if the machine is taking over the job of a traditional planner? Now, we have great control in AdWords, for example, where and when we want to place the ads. And for professional AdWords advertisers, it is one of the things that they do well or can do better in than other people if they know the tool well. But Google itself, if machine learning comes more and more into it, we won't know what is actually happening, what is bringing us results. Traditionally, it was always, okay, I put this money in, I measure the results, and then I can do it again and replicate that maybe, or optimize my campaign. If the machine does it all for us, obviously we have less to do and we get more efficient as marketers. We could do more in that sense. And on the other hand, we don't really know much more about why it went down or why it went up. It reminds me a bit of SEO, where obviously the algorithm decides whether you get ranked high or low. You can approximate why this is happening, but maybe not as much as you would have done if you have all the control. And Google doesn't take away the control in a sense, right? But AI will come in more and more, and who knows if this is something that, or how it's going to change our world and our work. So machine learning is, on the one hand, makes Google more efficient, makes our work more efficient. At the other hand, it makes things more simple. And that's what Google wants. They want to have more people in the advertising system. They want to make it easier. Google AdWords is not easy at the beginning. If you are a beginner and you just book some ads, you might as well throw money out of the window, because maybe you don't have conversion tracking set up, goals set up, you don't know your objectives, you don't know how to write ads, and so on. Google wants to make this easier with something called smart campaigns. They will scan your website, pull out ads, and suggest ads for you. Then they will optimize them depending on machine learning. So these lower advertisers will be served by a system now, and it will make it easier and easier to the entry barriers are torn down by machine learning. So this is, on the one hand, very nice to see, because as a small business, I'm a small business owner, I sometimes struggle explaining AdWords and the benefits to a business. And that's what the AdWords sales forces out there, independent consultants, but they also know that you can only make things work in terms of make it really efficient if you spend a few $1,000s a month on AdWords. And I hope machine learning can explore that market in the few $100s ranges, maybe more efficiently than a consultant or a human being could do. Okay. That's one trend, machine learning. Now, the last trend that I saw is that Google just brings in new data. There are product announcements from Google Analytics. There will be cross-device tracking available. We will get new analytics partners, especially with Google Analytics 360. They will either import or you can export data. I didn't really get that from the keynote, but they're partnering up with many different other data sources that will be available in the 360 suite or in the Google Marketing platform. And they built something called Audience Center, is it Audience or Integration Center, where you can integrate the different products of the marketing platform into each other. So you have the remarketing available in these other products. So these are the three big trends I see, or the recap here is really they're renaming a bunch of stuff, they're getting more machine learning into their products, and they're getting new data sources into their marketing platform. Now, these were the big trends I saw. There were some product announcements. Now I thought there were not that many product announcements, or not that exciting product announcements, but I've written down and I went through the video again and I found quite a few. So if you look at the Google Ads side, there are new ad types on YouTube. You will have something called responsive search ads, and this is where machine learning really comes in. Basically, you can test more variations and do multivariate testing with the help of this machine, and they will pick the best winner for you. There are landing pages that are now being built when you have smart campaigns. So if you don't have a website, they will build a landing page for you, for your local business. And in ads, Google Ads or Google AdWords in particular, there will be a landing page speed score that will probably go into the quality score as well. So the landing page speed score will be another column that you will be able to look at in your Google Ads interface. Now on the Google Analytics side, we have cross-device reporting and remarketing. So that obviously also goes into AdWords here, but we will be able to see the data set of people going from one page and one device to the next. So for example, if somebody surfs on a phone, we'll be able to see how he continues this journey on our page. I don't know how this looks yet. They said they're gonna release this right away and we can try it right away, but in my Google, I couldn't find it yet. So once this comes out, we'll definitely do a first look on this channel to show you how this looks like. Then they have some e-commerce integrations. For Shopify, for example, you'll be able to take your shopping ads and manage them from the Shopify interface. So they're integrating this. They're also going to have something called smart feeds, where previously you would need to generate a feed from your Shopify, from your Magento store, a feed that always has the right product information on it. And Google will have a product now that will do this automatically. Beginning later this year, they're going to bring this out. There's some new campaign types for hotels, for local stores, and so on. You can find out more if you're interested in that. There's Integration Center, which will integrate in the marketing platform these different products. There's instant reporting for the display video 360 product, so the double-click product that is also new. Other than that, I guess there were some announcements that were interesting, but we will still see how this actually plays out in the interface or how this plays out in the overall scheme of connecting data together. Especially that data partner program wasn't quite clear to me what this does for me as a marketer. I think it's also something that is mostly for the marketing platform, and maybe it is kind of a cooperation like they have done with Salesforce before, that you can import and export data between the two tools. So overall, quite interesting announcements here. I think that it gives us a general idea on how things are going, in which direction they're going with the marketing products of Google. Machine learning is still a big trend, and I see it, an overall scheme, a interesting development that we need to stay aware of as marketers. On the other hand, I see it a little bit as a threatening thing. So when I saw the smart product feed feature, that is something that traditionally somebody like me would have set up for a business. Now, if Google does that automatically, obviously that would be good from an efficiency standpoint, and more advertisers will use it. But I don't want to get into a negative mood and saying, oh, they're taking away our jobs. No, but we see this coming with different products. They make things simpler, which is always good. And I think that the only thing that I see critical, and I never thought about it beforehand, that AI or machine learning or this whole data trend is actually another reason for Google to maybe become less transparent, right? So they have this data out there, but for privacy reasons and with their experience from the search product, so from SEO, is that they have a proprietary algorithm, and who knows how efficient Google AdWords wants to become. And maybe they will put that into their algorithm and say, okay, this is now a product that will give you really good results, but we won't tell you how we do this. And that's an interesting point that I have never thought about in machine learning, because you have so many variables, you can analyze so many variables, and that's something that we wouldn't be able to look under the hood of as a marketer. And maybe then we lose a bit of the control of our marketing, which as an advertiser, obviously you want to have less work, but as a marketer, you want to be the one who's still the guy who's driving, right? So machine learning, a big trend to watch in the future. All right, I hope you enjoyed this little recap and analysis of our Google marketing event of 2018. If you have any thoughts, then I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, then consider subscribing right over there. because we're bringing new videos every week. And also check out this video up there. And if you want to be here live when we record this, then subscribe to the channel with the bell notification icon clicked. Now, my name is Julian. Till next time.